Hello out there. Where's my gavel? I need my gavel.
How's that?
Okay, welcome to the meeting of the Harwich Board of Appeals on this July 28th, 2021. The purpose of this meeting is to hear and decide applications before the Board of Appeals which have been brought pursuant to the bylaw of the town of Harwich and the Massachusetts Zoning Enabling Act. We'll start by having the members of the board identify themselves.
I'm James Armstrong.
Al Donahue.
Dave Ryer
Chris Murphy.
Brian Sullivan?
Tim Bailey.
and Leisha,
Leisha McKenna,
secretary.
secretary.
Okay, I'm going to ask our clerk to call our first case, please.
Case number 2021-26. This is a continued case from Glenn R. Sherman and Lisa F. Sherman through their agent, Timothy Holmes, have applied for a special permit to construct a detached accessory dwelling. The application is pursuant to the Code of the Town of Harwich, 325, Table 2, Area Regulation, Table 3, Height and Bulk Regulation as set forth in MGL, Chapter 48, Section 6. The property is located at 20 Deakins Folly Road, map 46, parcel M8-2, in RL-1 zoning district. And this has been continued to today.
Mr. Chairman, I had removed myself from the previous hearing, and I'm going to do that again tonight, since I know Mr. Sherman is a friend of mine.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Armstrong had removed himself from the first hearing of this case, and the five of us that are sitting here had heard the first part of the case, so we will continue to hear this case and be the voting members on it. If you could identify yourself, sir, and present your petition, please.
Good evening, Timothy Holmes with Sunwind, representing the Shermans. When we were here last, we had a couple of requests that we have since changed and revised the plan, the site plan to show those. The first item we changed was the setback from the road. We had originally requested relief. We were trying to separate the main dwelling from the ADU a little bit, but we have moved it back to 25 feet to meet that requirement of the town's bylaw. Secondly, we have removed what would have been left, if anything, of the basketball court out front there, but we noted that on the plan where previously it was not noted. So that helps with the site coverage. Third, we actually shrunk the size of the building. We were seeking relief on the size of the building as well, the square footage of the building. We shrunk that down. We're still over the lot coverage area on that slightly, but we shrunk that by about 40 square feet, so we're now down to 699, where previously it was 740. And the engineer has gone through all of the lot coverage, site coverage, area calculations and confirmed everything for us, whereas previously there might have been something that was a bit askew compared to the couple of plans that we had previously. So that has all been adjusted and calculated. So those are the four major changes that we've made to the plan.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. On your plan, and I see we've got a July 20th, 2021 revision notation, but your front setback up in your little table is showing 15 feet.
Yeah, it should be 25. We're showing the building at 25 feet off of the front property line.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess, why did he not change the table?
I think it's a typo, because we weren't even 15 feet before. We were 17 feet previously.
Okay. I'm just thinking what we want to do if we approve this. I guess I'll make a notation that the 25 feet governs, the 15 feet's a typo.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Donahue, any questions, comments?
No, the property now sits back to 25 feet, and I don't have any other questions, responses.
Wait a minute, I'm sorry, Mr. Murphy is not gonna sit on this case. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because you weren't here last meeting.
Not now.
So there's only four of us. It was the four that were here last time, not including Mr. Murphy. Mr. Sullivan?
So the site coverage has gone down from 33.5 down to 31.8?
Yep.
Okay. And, I apologize, on this thing here, I don't see where that 15 feet is on this.
It's up on
Oh, in the
the
box up
table.
top.
It's up
Yeah,
in
I'm
the
looking up
table.
there.
Yep,
Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, proposed.
yeah, third
Yeah.
call
Thank you.
proposed, yep, second
Right.
line down,
I'm
yep,
looking at it.
yep,
Okay, so that's now 25.
yes.
I have no other further questions.
Okay, Mr. Bailey,
I have no questions.
Thank you, Tim.
is there anyone in the public that would like to comment on this application? Hearing no one, I'll move to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second?
Second.
Well, you're not voting. Second, second for Mr. Sullivan.
Why don't you just turn around and face the wall?
Get out.
It's okay, he tried to sneak one in. I've got my eye on this guy. Any discussion on the motion? No, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, public hearing is now closed. We'll discuss the case. I am happy that the applicant took our suggestions and made the changes we had suggested. However, I just want to talk to the board a second. If you go back and look at section 325-14T, which is the applicable provision, single-family dwelling with accessory apartment, and then you look at sub 4, all the way at the end of that, it's kind of a curious provision, and it says a determination that the owner has failed to comply with the foregoing criteria, which includes meeting building coverage and site coverage specifications, shall be evidence that the rights and benefits conferred hereunder are null and void. And the elements that make the accessory apartment a separate dwelling unit shall be removed from the property within 90 days. So that seems to be like an absolute determination. It doesn't really say that we cannot grant a special permit to vary those requirements. It's kind of an odd provision. And I guess my personal feeling is, since we're, as a board, not prohibited from granting relief, we can do so. But I wanted to call to the board's attention in case you folks have a different idea on it.
I think it's important that you pointed out during the meeting that you refer to that, so that way in the future, anybody who wants to complain about it, it was brought up during the board. Okay, so I don't have any, I know we're slightly over the site coverage, but,
And building coverage.
right, I feel fine with that at the moment.
For the same reason, plus he also reduced the square footage of the apartment, although slightly, I understand that, but he did reduce it, and it does meet our setback now for the 25 feet.
That's the key thing, all right?
Okay, as I said, I think we can move forward. It's just a curious provision, the way that has been worded. I do think we would want to, well, let's see, can you get all the construction vehicles that are going to be involved in this parked on your property?
Yeah, absolutely. The existing driveway to the north there's plenty of room to park vehicles there. There is a shell paved parking area out front, so there's a couple spots there. And since we're taking out that basketball court area, there's plenty of room there to be able to park vehicles. And it's a cul-de-sac as well, so it's not a very heavily traveled way, but
We were down there, but it's still kind of tight,
yeah, it is, yeah. Yep.
especially during the summertime. So, I mean, I guess I would be comfortable if we put the restriction that the construction vehicles have to be parked on site during the length of the project.
But there is quite a bit of parking that's down there, like I say, adjacent to the garage, I think there's also a truck.
Yeah, as long as it's on site.
Right.
Sure.
Just,
Stays in sight.
It is, I recognize it's a cul-de-sac, but it seemed kind of tight in there to me if you had a lot of vehicles parked on the street. Anything further from the board members? All right, I will entertain a motion in case 2021-26.
In the case of 2021-26, Glenn R. Sherman, Lisa F. Sherman, through their agent, Timothy Holmes, have applied for a special permit to be constructed a detached accessory dwelling. The board grants that special permit. The application is pursuant to the town of, Code of Town of Harwich 325, Table 2, Area Regulation, and Table 3, Height and Bulk Regulation as set forth in MGL Chapter 40A, Section 6. The property is located at 20 Deakins Folly Road, map 46, parcel M8-2 in the RL1 zoning district. There will be a condition on it that the property is in somewhat of a congested area. During the life of the project, all construction vehicles shall be parked on the property and not in any public street or road. It is a condition of this approval that the violation terms of and conditions of this special permit and may be enforced as violation of the Howard zoning bylaw pursuant to General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 7, and the Howard zoning bylaw as these may be amended from time to time.
Can I have a second on that motion, please? Second from Tim Bailey. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Special permit is granted, sir.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Just 1 second, please. Thanks, Alicia. Okay, if you could call our next case.
Case number 2021-29. Teresa M. and Robert E. Siggins, through their agent, attorney Marion S. Rose, have applied for a special permit to construct a single-story floor addition and a rear patio in a pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling. The application is pursuant to the town of Harwich, Chapter 325-54, Table 2, Area Regulation as set forth in MGL, Chapter 40A, Section 6. The property is located at 29 Edgewood Road, map 6, parcel E2-6A, in the RH1 zoning district.
Okay, if you could introduce yourself, please, and then present your petition.
Certainly. I'm Marion Rose. I'm an attorney at Singer & Singer over in Dennisport.
More volume, please.
Certainly.
Sorry.
Okay. Marion Rose, I'm an attorney over at Singer & Singer in Dennisport. Happy to be with you in person today. I represent the Siggins, and as you've said, they own a single-family dwelling in Harwichport in the RH1 zoning district. The applicants propose to construct an addition on the east side of their existing dwelling. The east side and rear setbacks will remain conforming. The addition will be slightly closer, 0.3 feet, to the existing non-conforming front setback. Currently, it's 19.2 feet away, and 18.9 feet would be proposed. We are seeking a special permit under 325-54 of the Harwich zoning bylaw in order to complete the work as shown on the submitted plans. Under the Harwich zoning bylaw, pre-existing non-conforming single-family residential structures such as this one may be altered, extended, or changed by special permit, provided that the board find that the proposal will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing nonconformities present. The applicants respectfully submit that this proposal will not be more substantially detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing conditions, primarily because this addition is modest in scope and size, and when seen in the context of the renovated and unrenovated homes in the neighborhood, it's, we believe, entirely compatible with the neighborhood. And to that point, and this is probably my most important point tonight, the three neighbors who are potentially most affected have all written letters of support for this project. They've reviewed the project and written letters. I have those emails and letters here, and I'd be happy to submit them at the end of my presentation, or to read them aloud, whichever you all would prefer. In addition to this main point, there'll be no change to the use of the property. It will continue to be used as a single-family dwelling. The addition will be conforming as to the east side setbacks. 20 feet are required and 22.5 feet are proposed, and the rear setbacks, where 20 feet are required, 29.7 feet are existing, and 37.6 feet for the proposed addition. It'll be a little further back. And it'll be non-conforming but unchanged as to the west side setback. The front property setback, as I've said before, will will be non-conforming and a bit more non-conforming, but by inches. The septic's leaching field existing placement precludes the builder from moving it back on the lot. There are going to be sonotubes constructed on the rear part of that addition rather than a foundation to limit the impact on the existing leaching field. Moreover, the part of the new addition that's in that front setback is the bathroom. And in the bathroom, inches matter in terms of function, and that's why the applicants are requesting this relief. The building coverage will remain conforming at 18.5%. The site coverage will also remain conforming at 31.5%. The building height will not increase and will remain conforming. We don't believe that the Harwich Conservation Commission has jurisdiction over the property, and the property is compliant under Title V, and the project will change the placement of the bedrooms in the house, but it will not increase the number of bedrooms. All runoff will be contained on the site. There'll be no negative impact, we believe, on water supply or the environment. There's adequate off-street parking, and as you can see from the site plan, now there's a driveway that will be removed, and there's a parking area on the side of Edgewood Road, which will be sufficient for the house. The proposal will not create any nuisance, hazard, or congestion, or any harm to the neighborhood, nor adversely affect the public health, safety, or convenience, or general welfare of the town. And for all of these reasons, the applicants respectfully request the board to make a finding that the proposal will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood and grant a special permit allowing the project to be completed as shown on the plans. At this point, I'd be happy to answer questions. I'd be happy to read those letters into the record, whatever you'd like.
Why don't we just submit the
Certainly.
letters for the record and
Certainly.
acknowledge they're all in favor?
Yes, they are all
supportive?
in favor. And it's the east side neighbor at 25 Edgewood, and the neighbors across the street at 30 and 34.
Okay. If you could just give those to our secretary, please, and we can put those in the record. Thank you.
Sure.
And I should have said at the outset, I'm not going to vote on this case. So
Okay.
we'll have voting, Mr. Armstrong, Mr. Donahue, Mr. Murphy, Mr. Bailey, and Mr. Sullivan.
Right,
Mr. Sullivan, and Mr. Bailey.
okay,
So I will not vote.
okay.
Jamie, comments, questions?
Just a clarification, I
Certainly.
think. In the application, you have the heights listed, existing 40.5, but in the narrative, I assume that's the correct.
That's the correct, it's right, it's top of the, it's 21.8, top of the floor elevation, and then for the proposed,
You're,
oh, I'm sorry, so sorry.
But regardless, it doesn't violate the height,
Right,
right? Great. No, I had no
Okay.
questions.
thank you.
Al?
No, I have no questions on the project.
I have no questions.
I have no
Chris?
questions. Actually, I have no questions either.
I have no questions.
Right,
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment on this application? Hearing none, I'll move to close the public hearing. Can I have a second on that motion, please?
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Donahue, comments, discussion? All in favor of closing public hearing? Aye?
Aye.
Okay, well, wait, I'm not voting, but it's 5 unanimous, so public hearing is now closed. Discussion of the case by the board.
Yeah, I just got a question. There's nothing really on this particular case here, but the zoning is requiring, it's 30 foot for building height. But I see here maximum ridge elevation at 50.9. I didn't know that that was a separate code.
I don't know why that's there. It's 30 foot is what the.
30
uh,
foot, so I'm not quite sure what the, attorneys, you, on the application, has
okay.
maximum ridge elevation of 50.9, which I'm just not,
I think that's inaccurate, it's the correct way to measure it is from, is the TOF, it's the 21.8, and then I've got it, the proposed addition elevation is 37,
right,
But
the
it's-
existing house is
right,
at 40, is at
right,
40.5.
right,
Which, but I just noted that, I just kind of
Right.
little confused by that notation.
I understand,
So is that just an error, or is that?
that's an error.
Okay.
I think this clearly meets the requirements of the bylaw and the Gale case.
I agree.
There's no new nonconformity being created here, just intensifying an existing nonconformity on the east side there, except for that side yard setback, what is it? I'm sorry, the front yard
The front,
setback
it's the front setback.
is the intensification. Everything else is either conforming or unchanged, as far as I can see. So, it certainly will have no substantial detriment to the neighborhood. It's, I do think, though, we need the construction time restriction as well as our new general condition. So, I will entertain a motion in the case if no one has any more comments.
A motion the case of case number 2021-29, Teresa M. and, excuse me, Robert G. Siggins, through their agent, Attorney Marion S. Rose, have applied for a special permit, which has been granted by this board to construct a single-story floor addition, the rear patio, to a pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling. The application is pursuant to the Code of Town of Harwich, 32554, Table 2, Area Regulation, as set forth in MGL, Chapter 48, Section 6. The property is located at 29 Edgewood Road, Map 6, Parcel E2-6A, in the RH-1 zoning district. There's a condition that's going to be placed upon this property The applicant, Teresa M. and Robert G. Siggins, the board's going to grant the special permit, and having found that the applicant meets the requirements of the bylaw in the Gale case, there will be no new nonconformity and will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing structures. All work shall be performed in accordance with the plans submitted with the application. There will be no demolition on the exterior construction, nor new landscaping during the period of June 30 to Labor Day any year during the life of the project. It is a condition of this approval that the violation of terms and conditions of the special permit and may be enforced as a violation of the Harwich zoning bylaw pursuant to General Law, Chapter 48, Section 7, and the Harwich zoning bylaw as these may be amended from time to time.
Could I have a second on Al's motion, please? Second by Brian Sullivan. Any discussion by the board on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, granted unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Rose. All right, Al. Okay, let him call the case, and then you can do that. Go ahead, Al.
Case number 2021-30, Kevin C. and Mary Ann Y. McCarthy, through their agent, Attorney William Kroll, have applied for special permit or in the alternative, a variance to demolish and replace a pre-existing non-conforming single-family residence. The application pursued the code of the town of Harwich, set forth in 32554, Table 2, Area Regulation, as set forth in MGL Chapter 48, Section 6, or Chapter 48, Section 10. The property is located at 8 Sail Loft Road, Map 7, Parcel D12, located RH1 in the zoning district.
Mr. Murphy.
I'm going to recuse myself from this voting on this, as I know the applicant.
Okay, thank you, sir. Now, it doesn't mean that he would be swayed by knowing you, but just to avoid any appearance of impropriety, Mr. Murphy's gonna sit out. So it'll be the 5 members that are here voting Attorney Kroll. Okay, Attorney Kroll, if you could introduce yourself for the record, please, and present your petition.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, board members. Attorney William Kroll from Harwich Port, and I have seated with me one of the owners, Kevin McCarthy. His wife, Mary Ann, was unable to attend. The property is located on, off of C Street in Harwich Port on Sail Loft Road, as shown on the certified plot plan and the assessor's map. The plot plan is combined. It shows the existing structure and the proposed structure. And what the petitioners are seeking to do is demolish and replace the pre-existing non-conforming single-family residence per the plot plan and the building and elevation plans by Thomas Moore Design Company. On the easterly side of the property, the existing dwelling is 4.8 feet from the easterly lot line. The proposed dwelling will improve that to 9.1 on the windows as they jog out, and even further than that on the main part of the rear of the dwelling. But it will almost double that distance the existing 4.8. The existing detached garage in the northwest corner is 1.5 feet from the westerly lot line, and that will improve a little bit to 2.1 feet. But the garage will become an attached garage to the dwelling. On the northerly lot line, the existing dwelling is 14.5 feet, and the new dwelling will be 18.2, so it will improve somewhat there. The existing building coverage is only 14.8%, and that will increase to 23.4%, but the maximum is 30%, so it will still be significantly less than the 30% maximum. I have a typo in my narrative, in my presentation, they submitted, it says the existing site coverage is 32, building coverage it says, it meant to say site coverage, and I apologize, but the site coverage is 32.8%, that will increase slightly to 34.9, but the maximum is 35%, so it'll still be conforming, be below the maximum site coverage. Now, the new dwelling, as shown on the proposed dwelling plot plan, will continue to have habitable space within the 20-foot setbacks. So it's a bylaw case and a Gale case, because we're still going to be within the 20-foot setback with habitable space, and we're going to be increasing that habitable space because the proposed dwelling is going to extend longer to the south, as you can see. But under our bylaw and the Gale case, but especially under our bylaw, as you know, it says that if you maintain the existing nonconformity, you can continue along that same line and extend that nonconformity further, as long as you don't come any closer than the existing nonconformity. Here, we're stepping it back, almost doubling it back from 4.8 to 9.1, so we're making it better than the existing nonconformity, but still within the 20 feet. So that's why we're here for your relief. We have to have a special permit from this board to still be within the 20 feet, which our bylaw allows, as I just said, and the Gale case, as you know, allows you to even intensify the existing nonconformity, so we can extend the house southerly further, as shown on the proposed plot plan, because the bylaw and the Gale case allow this board to do that upon issuance of a special permit. So the easterly, northerly, and westerly sides will constitute intensification of the existing nonconformities, as I've explained. But the board may allow that if the board finds that that intensification will not constitute a substantial detriment to the entire neighborhood. Now, I also wanted to point out, you've looked at the building plans. There's a denial letter from the building commissioner referring this case to the Board of Appeals. There are 3 letters, 3 items of correspondence from abutters. 2 of them from the immediate abutters to the west, the southwest. Both are in favor of this petition. The abutter to the east, the immediate easterly abutter, submitted an email, which the board has a copy of, and I just wanted to address some of the concerns raised in that letter. Primarily, first off, the easterly abutter is concerned about the power lines, the electrical. There's going to be no change to that property because our new electrical service, where it used to come across the McCarthy property with overhead lines to a pole on the easterly abutter's property, that's not going to come across in overhead lines anymore. It's going to go down to the south, along the southerly border, back up, or tie into the pole that's on the southeast corner. There'll be no change to the easterly abutter's electrical service or lines or poles whatsoever. And I wanted to give you a copy of the email, if I may, from Eversource, saying that there are two options. And the McCarthy's are going with option 2, which is underground service, not any change to the Donnelly property. So when you look at this handout, and it says option 1, remove the overhead wire, install a new pole, they're not doing that, okay? Then you go to the next page, which shows you option 1, okay, with the big, heavy, darkened dots. They're not doing that either. That's option 1. They're not doing that. So at the bottom of that page that says option 1, it lists out what option 2 is, which is to remove the overhead wire on the McCarthy property, install a handhole, and then go underground from there. And that, on the option 2, the last page, is what they've elected to do with Eversource, and it shows this dotted line. So here's the handhole, and then the dotted line goes down to this point here, and there's a pole there. So that underground, that'll all be underground, it will connect to that pole, and that pole has a line that goes up to this other pole at the easterly abutters property. There'll be no change to their pole or their overhead lines. It won't come in from Braddock Street. There'll be no change whatsoever to their service.
Is that pole on the applicant's property?
From the plan that Eversource has, it's not on the applicant's property. It's on the abutters property.
Okay. Okay, I see it now, yeah,
All right?
just slightly, right. Okay.
Now, also, the issue was raised as to the size of the house, but I've pointed out that even though we're increasing the size of the existing dwelling somewhat from 14.8 to 23.4%, that 23.4% is still well below the 30% maximum that's allowed under our bylaw. So, in this case, size does not matter. The site coverage is still below the 35%. And then lastly, a concern was raised about the placement of the new house and interfering with a view by the easterly abutter. As this board knows, there's no right to a view in Massachusetts. You have to have a recorded view easement in order to prohibit somebody from building a house that blocks your view. With all due respect to the abutters, that's not a legal argument that can be made before this board. So, what I've tried to do is address the concerns that were raised in that email, and Mr. McCarthy has already addressed that all with Eversource, because he's going with the underground option that will not change the electrical service whatsoever to the easterly abutter. And the house is still, the proposed house is still well below the 30% maximum, and there's no recorded view easement. Going back to the special permit argument, the McCarthy's contend that there would be no substantial increase in noise, odors, fumes, congestion, traffic, or the like. There would be no substantial detriment. And it's not just the legal standard is not that it's going to be somewhat of a detriment or a little detriment. It has to be a substantial detriment. And it has to be to the entire neighborhood, not just to one abutter, but to the entire neighborhood. It has to be in a substantial detriment to the entire neighborhood. In other words, devalues the property values of most of the houses in the neighborhood. And I would contend and submit to the board that this improved dwelling will not constitute a substantial detriment to the entire neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you. Jamie?
Have you been in touch with the abutters, the Donnellys, in regard to the changes at all?
Go ahead.
No, I have not.
Okay.
No, this is just recently, and,
I saw the email was
yeah,
pretty recent.
yeah, I haven't talked to them about it yet.
Okay,
We knew their concerns and tried to address them.
great. No, that's all I had, thank you.
Mr. McCarthy and I did discuss a couple of months ago the electrical service issue. And he pointed out that they were going to come in with the underground service.
Al?
I don't have any questions with regard to this property.
I have no questions. Brian?
I now know, I have no questions now.
You have no questions either. Thanks for the utility plan.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone in the public that would like to address this? If you could come up to the podium, ma'am, and introduce yourself and give us your address, that would be great.
Sure. I'm Laura Donnelly, I'm the abutter at 24, Braddock Street. And I appreciate what we just heard. We had no idea that that was intended, and is there any way we could see all that, you know, so we understand what's gonna happen? Would be helpful for us. That'd be great, thank you.
Be happy to give her a copy of this if you'd like.
Yeah, I'd love it, thank you.
Yeah, I've got an extra one here. You gave me two, if you need one, Attorney Kroll.
Okay, that's primarily it. We were concerned about our electrical and our pole having to be removed, and the pole is in our property. So that's I just hadn't seen this, so thank you.
That answers your question? Ms. Donnelly, are you?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Does that answer your question? That's what you
Well,
had?
actually, I haven't even seen it. I mean, and I'm not sure what I'm looking at, but at this point, I mean, I can't jump in and say I have a question because I don't understand this yet. you know.
But the applicant has testified they're not gonna
Right.
touch the pole. They're gonna do
I
this
understand.
circuitous route around, so, and
I'm
the
just
service
wondering
will.
where the wire comes up, like, there's a fence there, and, I mean, I know they're 9 feet off our back line, but it's all non-conforming in our area. But I don't quite understand, like, is the wire gonna go run under and then come up our pole, or how that actually all works? You know, in my head, I don't understand
It's gonna
it
come
yet.
up the pole of the,
And I don't know if anybody can explain that, or if Eversource can, oh, you can,
I can try,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman.
okay.
If you look at the third page of the handout, I have to look forward for the camera on the board, but through you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
If the abutter looks at the third page of the handout that says option 2 at the top, all right, and then if you look at the dark rectangle at the top of the page,
Yeah,
that's where the handhole is going to be. So that's where the electrical service for McCarthy will start underground.
okay,
And then you see the dotted lines that go down to the southwest, southeast corner.
yep,
So that dotted lines are going to be underground electrical wires. And that will bring it to the southeast corner where, if you look at the second page, see this big dot?
hang on. Yep, see the big dot,
That's a pole.
right,
And that's where the underground wires will connect to that pole
come up.
and come up. And then that pole is already overhead wires up to this other dot, which is where it connects to your property.
Got it. Okay, so it's gonna, that pole is, it's not the one I was thinking of, right behind our house, so that's gonna go to that pole and then connect that way.
Right, it's not going underground to the pole behind your house.
Got it. Okay. That helps. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything further from the public? I'll move to close the public hearing. Can I have a second, please? Second from Tim Bailey. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, public hearing is closed. Any discussion from the board?
Now, given the description and the paperwork that's been provided, I think the Donnie family seems to be satisfied that it will not impact their property. So I don't have any further questions.
I think it meets the requirements, the Gale case and the bylaw. There will be no new nonconformity. They're gonna intensify existing nonconformities, which are permitted both under the bylaw and the Gale case. And I don't believe there's gonna be any substantial detriment to the neighbor as a whole. Looking at the plans, I think it will be an improvement and enhance the values of people in that area. It's gonna be a nice structure, a nice house when it's done. I understand the neighbor's concern about the view, but Attorney Crowell did correctly state the law. You have no legal right in this state to a view absent a recorded easement. Anything further? Any comments? Ryan, Tim?
Just briefly, I wanted to thank you for addressing the concerns of the neighbors and dealing with them.
We have a great neighborhood.
I think we do need the construction time restriction. I mean, you can barely turn around this time of year, let alone construction vehicles and our standard.
Mr. Chairman, did you
General.
close the public hearing yet? I don't
did.
recall. You did, thank you.
I did close the public hearing, so I will entertain a motion in the case.
Okay, case number 2021-30. Kevin C. and Mary Ann Y. McCarthy, through their agent, William Kroll, have been granted a special permit with regard to the Harwich 325, the code of the town of Harwich, 325-54, Table 2, area regulations is set forth in MGL Chapter 40A, Section 6. I stand corrected. The applicant is pursuant to the code of the town of Harwich, 325-54, Table 2, Chapter 40A, Section 6, or Chapter 48, Section 10. The property is located at 8 Sail Loft Road, Map 7, Parcel D12, located RH1 in the zoning district. An additional condition is going to be put upon that property, given the congested area which it is located. There will be no exterior construction or demolition or landscaping during the period of June 30th through Labor Day in any year. It is the condition of this approval that the violation of the terms and conditions of the special permit and may be enforced as a violation of the Howard zoning bylaw pursuant to General Law, Chapter 48, Section 7, and the Howard zoning bylaw as these may be amended from time to time.
I think you need to strike the reference to Chapter 48, Section 10, right?
Ah, okay.
Isn't that,
Yeah,
isn't that the variance?
that was the catch-all.
Second to Al's motion? All right, Tim
Second.
Bailey, any discussion by the board on the motion? I'll call for a vote. All in favor? Aye, 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 aye. Special permit granted unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a linebacker.
Good luck on your project.
You can tell from your shoulders.
McCarthy.
He's a linebacker, and your size.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll be in touch. All right. The all-Irish row here.
Okay.
And Scottish.
Right?
Yeah, that's true. Hadn't thought of that.
I don't know about Ryer, but
Thanks for pointing that out.
like 5 out of 6.
Attorney Crowell, can I ask a question?
Sure.
In regards to any case, when the power companies put in wires, isn't it typically their call as to where wires go and how they're placed?
Yeah, actually, we're gonna put this down.
It is.
And when it's put across a property, do they have
You're
to
right.
ask
I want
for
that. Thank you, yes.
any type of permit or?
The,
Stamp.
this one here?
I didn't get a copy, but I was, my records. Yep.
Sure. Yes, I gave 2 to the chairman by mistake. Ordinarily, the electric company has an easement,
Yes,
and then they can call the shots.
right, so I'm assuming, yeah,
Here, they did, they said, okay, we're giving you 2 options. Which one do you want?
okay.
Okay, Al, you can call our next case,
I
please.
appreciate it, thank you.
Sure.
All right. Case number 2021-31. Deborah A. and Brian J. Welch. Through their agent, Attorney William Kroll has applied for a special permit or any alternative, a variance to demolish and replace a pre-existing non-conforming single-family residence. The application is pursuant to the Code of Town of Harwich 32554, Table 2, Area Regulation, as set forth in MGL Chapter 48, Section 6, or 48, Section 10. The property is located at 11 Gordon Road, Map 5, Parcel B4-9, located in RH1 in the zoning district.
Okay, Attorney Kroll, if you could again introduce yourself for the record, please, and then present your application.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Attorney William Crowell from Harwich Port, and I have here seated behind me, and they better all three of them be in favor of this petition. Mr. and Mrs. Walsh, Brian and Deborah Walsh are the property owners, and then Harry Ellis is the builder.
Good
This-
evening, all.
Property is located southerly of Lower County Road in West Harwich, and there are two plot plans by J.M. O'Reilly and Associates. One is the existing dwelling, and the second one is the proposed dwelling, to more centrally locate the dwelling on the lot. Just to walk you through it a little bit, the existing dwelling, which is a pre-existing non-conforming single-family residence, is non-conforming on both the south and the east sides. When you look at the existing dwelling plot plan, the easterly setback is 5.7 feet, and that will improve to 9.1, as shown on the proposed plot plan. The southerly setback will become conforming. The new house, closest corner, will be 30.1, so it's going from non-conforming to conforming. The deck will be also conforming. The southwest corner of the deck on the proposed dwelling, it will be 20.5, so that's still conforming. So we don't need any relief on the southerly side because we're making it conforming and we're making it better on the easterly side. On the westerly side, you can see that it's 20.6 feet, so that's conforming, and we're certainly conforming on the setback from Gordon Road. So the only nonconformity of the new dwelling would be 9.1 feet on the easterly side, which is a significant improvement, almost double again. The existing building coverage, because it's a larger lot, is 7.7% and will increase to 14.3, but the maximum's 30. It's still well below the maximum. The existing site coverage is 32.8, will increase slightly to 34.5, but that's still under the 35% maximum. So we're not creating any new nonconformities. We're removing one nonconformity and improving an existing nonconformity. It's a double negative, but we're making it less nonconforming. Put it positively, we're making it better, all right? We're improving it. So, since there will still be habitable space on the easterly side at 9.1, where the bylaw currently requires 20, we will have habitable space within the 20-foot setback, so we need relief from this board in the form of a special permit. And it would constitute an intensification of an existing nonconformity under our bylaw, just like the last case. You can continue along at the same distance, or you could set it back. You could even come closer if the board felt that was appropriate, but we're stepping it back. And the Gale case also permits intensification of the existing nonconformity. So there would be no substantial increase in noise, fumes, odors, congestion, of traffic, or the like as a result of this proposal, and we would submit there would be no substantial detriment to the entire neighborhood and ask that you grant the special permit this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jamie?
I have no questions, thank you.
Al?
I have no questions.
Is the shed being removed and the patio roof that are
Yes.
shown on existing, they're both coming out?
Yes.
Okay. And what is the parcel A there? Does the applicant own that, or?
I would have been disappointed, Mr. Chairman, if you did not ask that question.
Because I noticed
As a former lawyer, retired lawyer, I would have been disappointed.
stockade fence sort of wanders over there, I
Let's
noticed.
just say that, very simply put, the Walshes do not have a deed for parcel A. So, I said we cannot include parcel A as part of the certified plot plan. We don't have a deed for it.
Okay. I'm assuming there's enough enough area on the lot there, so we can get the construction vehicles all on site and not have to restrict the time of construction? Because Gordon Road, Al and I met there by happenstance yesterday, and we caused a traffic jam. One going one way and one going the other way, with cars parked across the street there. Chris?
But you had a former police officer with you.
Well, we did, yeah, but he backed up. He let me come forward. I didn't
He
know it was
caused the
him at the
problem?
time.
I know the way
I thought it was just some crazy guy doing all these hand signals and. Chris?
I have no questions.
Brian?
I have no questions either.
Tim?
I have no questions. Sounds like a good improvement project.
Okay, the only audience looks like the applicants and their builder. I don't know if you want to say anything? Okay. I will move to close the public hearing. Can I have a second, please? Second from Chris Murphy. Wait, I guess I didn't designate. I will not vote. So the other 5 members will vote.
And I think you were saying that there would be no restriction about construction as long as we got all the vehicles onto
Yeah,
the
I
property.
think we'll put that condition in, that they all have to go off. I think this case clearly meets the Gale case in the bylaw for all the same reasons that we discussed in the last case. No new nonconformity. I suppose technically an intensification of an existing one, although it's really an improvement, but it's still gonna be within the setback, the new property and the occupancy, so we do need to give them a special permit, and I think they're entitled to it. So I will ask for a motion on the case, please.
All right, case number 2021-31, Brenda A. and Brian J. Walsh, through their attorney, William Kroll, has applied for a special permit to demolish and replace the pre-existing non-conforming family residence. The board hereby grants that special permit. The application is pursuant to the Code of Town of Harwich 32554, Table 2 Area Regulations, as set forth in MGL Chapter 40A, Section 6. The property is located at 11 Gordon Road, Map 5, Parcel B4-9, located in RH1 in the zoning district. The condition that's going to be placed upon this property is, during the life of the project, all construction vehicles shall be parked on the property and not on any public street or road. It is a condition of this approval that violation of the terms and conditions of the special permit may be enforced as a violation of the Harwich zoning bylaw pursuant to General Law, Chapter 48, Section 7. The Harwich zoning bylaw, as these may be amended from time to time.
Could I have a second on Al's motion, please? Second from Brian Sullivan. Any discussion by the board on the motion? No discussion. I'll call for a vote on the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, granted unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, folks. Good luck on your project.
Done in time to go to the stroll, maybe.
There you go.
Beautiful.
It's in full bloom, I'll tell you.
Oh, is that tonight?
It's not the same day that I woke up to this morning.
No.
Gorgeous out.
Yeah,
Oh.
beautiful.
Gonna be mob down there.
Doing the fill the boot, so the traffic is.
Oh, the
bad. Yeah, it was
firefighters
down-
are,
Yeah, it was
oh,
down to,
oh.
like CBS.
Oh, jeez.
Halfway, yeah, on that side.
Gotta watch those firefighters.
No,
What time does the stroll go on to anyways?
only till 8.
Oh, okay.
It's called fill the boot. They have 4 boots.
Yeah,
They're all full.
yeah, yeah, I'm sure,
It's for a good cause. Great.
definitely, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay,
Good night.
folks, have a good evening.
Good luck, folks.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We do not have another.
I can read it into the record.
Start reading it into the.
How about that? Okay, case number 2021-32, Lindsay Strode appeals the decision by the building commissioner and/or requests necessary relief regarding the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for residential construction approved under the planning board case number PB 2019-08 A and B. The property is located at 362 Great Western Road, map 38, parcel N1, in the RM zoning district.
Okay, I see no applicant present. So, sitting on this case will be our 5 regular members. Tim will be here, but he will not be voting if we take a vote on this case. Well, as far as I'm concerned, we can proceed whether the applicant's here or not. It's up to the applicant to show up. Did the applicant say they're not coming, Leisha? Ask for an extension or continuation?
I kind of heard through town administrator Megan that they might withdraw, and I assumed I would have something in writing by the end of the day today. But we don't have anything, so
Nobody came to you officially.
nobody came to me officially, and I even checked emails and things at 6:45 just to be sure. So that's all I know.
Why did you hear it through the town administrator? Why were the people going through him regarding this?
I'm not sure.
Okay, I can read into that, but
No, I'm not gonna say that. I think we should talk about this case and then make a decision whether we wanna do anything, whether we wanna continue it.
sure. This is open discussion now?
Yeah, I mean, looking through it, I don't think it really makes much difference what this particular electrical requirement is. I don't really know when you're supposed to get approval for it, but clearly they didn't do it. And I guess to me, the thing that is most important, Alicia sent it around to us, it was in our package, but the construction supervisor license exemption. Mr. Strode, for whatever reason, decided to be his own construction supervisor, and he signed the affidavit whereby he certified that he would fully comply with the applicable sections of the Massachusetts State Building Code, Town of Harwich zoning bylaws, and any other applicable law, rule, or regulation, and he didn't do it, so,
Yeah, I
period.
mean, there's,
Straightforward.
they seem to be applying the fact that since they started this project back in 2008, that somehow this first floor turned into not just habitable space, but a housing unit, because they want to rent it out, that somehow that first floor should apply to the building codes prior to the stretch energy code, which I had to look up, by the way. I didn't have that top of my, so and the building inspector in the past, the second floor got approved for occupancy, the basement or the garage got approved for occupancy. Now they get a new situation for the first floor. In checking things out, and these folks, two to get the building inspector's approval, he wanted to know the fact that they passed a HERS rating of 55 under the stretch energy code. And these folks did get a HERS-rated company to come in to evaluate it, and he didn't pass it. What I don't know is in here, did they not pass it because he got a rating of 60 versus 55? I mean, my interest, I was gonna ask the applicant tonight as to what he has to do in order to get approved on the energy code. How far off is he? Is it another window? Is it some more insulation? Since they haven't provided that, I don't see any reason why we would consider overruling the building inspector.
Yeah, excuse me, I agree. It seems to me the timing is based on when the building permit was taken out for the final project.
Right.
The stretch code was adopted by the town in July of 2018, so, I mean, clearly it applies. So, I don't think we have to even get into interpretation of the code itself, but say that he has the authority in which to determine whether or not it applies to, that code applies to that, under the timing of the building code. So I don't see how they could even go around it.
Yeah, exactly, because, and the other thing is, I'm not even, I mean, normally, if you don't like what the building inspector says for an occupancy permit, you have to go to the state inspector. Does it actually pass through us? Are we,
Yeah, it's gotta come to us under the bylaw.
under the bylaws, we are the jurisdiction in this town.
An appeal from the building
For our occupancy permit. Okay.
inspector, but we can't grant relief. I mean, think about it.
Right.
To grant relief and order a CO, we would have to permit a violation of the law. We don't have power to do that.
Right.
That's why, I mean, to me, he's gotta comply with the law, okay?
Right.
If it means ripping out whatever he's done. He didn't hire a professional, he took the risk, well, okay, that's why you pay the money to hire a professional that knows what they're doing, and he chose not to do that, which is his right, but now he has to stand responsible for what he undertook.
But with the second floor above him, first floor below him, I mean, again, I think they just don't wanna spend any more money to comply with what the HERS inspector said, and,
Well,
that's how it goes. I mean, I just.
yeah, I mean,
Codes are confusing, especially when you get into the stretch code.
Yeah.
And bylaws that are adopted by the town are different than other bylaws in other towns, and so I get that. But I agree with the chairman, when we're talking about, he has the authority in which to do what he did. And specifically, if they disagree with his decision on that, then there is a means through the state by which they could get that appeal.
And it's also not just an accessory habitable space for an extra bedroom that they're gonna use. This is a property that they're gonna be renting out.
According to what was in there, this could not be used by that occupant first level. It had to be used by the people in the main residence.
No,
They
that's
can't rent it
not
out.
my understanding.
I think it said that.
That was
I-
my understanding as well.
I didn't really look at that carefully, because to me, that was not germane.
No, it's the top floor. It's a-
That's germane.
Right, this is
No.
germane,
No,
right.
okay, I have to go back and look at it, but it was
Yeah.
the top floor that they couldn't, had to be used by the people residents. So there's three floors.
Right.
So there's a garage, the first floor that we're talking about tonight, and the top floor. It's the top floor that they couldn't
Right.
rent out to anybody. But they built the first floor to rent, it's a separate residence. It's got a kitchen and,
But I think the building commissioner wanted the door from the first floor to the second floor to be sealed. So he couldn't enter that apartment from the first floor.
it's its own, yeah, right. So it's the first floor, that, I think they're planning on renting it.
I thought that was already rented.
Oh, is it? Oh, I have no idea. So he's already
So I thought-
occupying it?
When I looked at the plan, I thought it was just that it was a bedroom and a bath in the plan that we had. And at least that's what I remember. That was, the problem is,
I mean, I could have misinterpreted.
there's almost no information in here to make a judgment on. I mean, they were gonna have to spend a lot of time
Right,
telling
I
us
don't
what
think
it
there
is.
was any
I looked for the stretch energy codes online, and I went on the town site all over, and I couldn't find any details. I mean, generally, you know what it is, it's like,
Yeah,
it's not inches of insulation, some other stuff, right? But
Right.
there was no detail, and they had to provide that in order to.
right, exactly.
I mean, aside from this, which is
Yeah, a lot of my
by itself.
understanding,
Right. I mean, to me, that's why everything in there was extraneous except this. They didn't follow the law.
Right.
They can't get a building permit
Right.
because of that, and we don't have any ability to waive the legal requirement.
Right.
If they want a building permit, they have to comply, period. So my feeling is we should deny this appeal and uphold the finding of the building commissioner.
I would agree.
Yeah, if you want to make a motion.
I'm gonna make a motion that in case 2021-32, the appeal of Lindy Strode from the decision of the building commissioner regarding the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for residential construction approved under planning board case number PB 2019-08 AMB be denied, and that this board upholds the building commissioner's denial of a building permit in this case. The property is located at 362 Great Western Road, map 38, parcel N1 in the RM zoning district. The board having found that the homeowner, in signing an affidavit of a homeowner for construction supervision license exemption on the 17th day of December 2019, certified that he would assume full responsibility for the work described and would assure conformance to the applicable sections of the Massachusetts State Building Code, Town of Harwich zoning bylaws, and other applicable law, rule, or regulation.
Mr. Chairman, I think you denied the occupancy permit, though, right?
Not the building permit,
Got
the
the
occupancy
building permit, so,
I think you might.
We denied his appeal from the decision of the building commissioner.
right, right,
For the occupancy permit.
We deny the appeal.
right, good.
That's my motion. Can I have a second,
Second.
please? Second by Jamie. Jamie Armstrong. Discussion on the motion.
No,
I think we pretty well covered.
yeah, I would
Yeah,
agree.
and the other thing that, just quickly, is we had a discussion before when we were looking at an appeal to the building inspector, decision that he made in the past, and the board, and you had pointed out, and I agree with it, that's a heavy thing to do, and it has to be pretty clear-cut, I think.
Yeah,
for us to take a vote on
absolutely.
that, so,
And to me, this can't be any more clear-cut.
Exactly.
The homeowner decided to take a chance in, being his own construction supervisor, and he wasn't aware of the legal requirements regardless of inspections. He claimed that inspections were conducted well. That doesn't relieve him of his obligation, so.
I do have a general question about this
Yes.
case. If the application was more complete and the circumstances were different, does the board have the authority to appeal in favor and of appeal for a certificate of occupancy? Or does it go through us to the state that you were mentioning?
Well, we're just deciding whether or not the building commissioner acted appropriately, and whether we should grant or deny the appeal, but I don't think we can grant the appeal, because the building inspector did act appropriately. This fella did not meet the legal requirements, and we can't waive those. If we were to order the building commissioner to issue a certificate of occupancy, we in effect would be overriding the state code, the state building code, and we can't do that. We don't have that authority. So,
Right, so.
okay, a vote on the motion. All in favor? Aye, 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 aye. Unanimous. Okay, so, yeah, thanks. An interesting case.
Yeah, very much.
And
They
that's
did the-
unanimous denied.
We denied denied, appeal denied. And why the applicant didn't come, we don't know.
Yeah, they had to provide a lot of information in order to.
Do they have people living, I didn't notice it, in that first floor now?
There were two cars sitting
don't
there.
know.
Cars out there, and it appeared, and a slider, something on the other side of the slider is always occupied.
So it's occupied and there's no occupancy permit. What's our responsibility?
That's an enforcement issue for the building department, as far as I.
Yeah. Okay, any
It's strictly zoning.
new business that anyone has? I have nothing other than that Ray is not the building commissioner. Yes,
I
Alicia.
think you need to, I don't know what it's called, but you need to vote each other in as chairman and
The
vice-
board reorganization, yes, we were supposed to do it last month.
Oh, yeah, I thought of that.
Thank you.
Driving out of
Yeah.
here.
Forgot about it. All right. I have been chairman for a long time now. Would someone else like to be chairman? It's not that hard. I mean, you guys sit here, you see what happens. It just, the only other thing you have to do is during the interim, you will get questions that come up from the secretary that require a response. If it's something that you can't answer or don't want to answer, you can always ask for an opinion from town council. Or you're not going to get it instantly, but that's okay. We can refer things to town council. And you have to sign the decisions. At some point, the decisions will be ready, and Alicia will call me up or send me an email, actually, and I'll come in and I'll sign them. You should review them ahead of time, but that's basically it. So, does
If
anyone
nominated, I will decline.
want to be chairman? I am,
I appreciate your experience, and this is a fairly young board, and we need that experience, I think, right now. I hate, if you're willing to do it, I think you'd be the
all
best
right,
to
I
do
mean,
it.
I don't mind doing
Jamie, you
it,
make
but
an important point.
at some point,
Experience
it
and
would
the
be,
legal experience on
And
the
that
board.
too.
There's also,
Yeah, we've definitely gotta have an attorney on this.
Not
well,
a lawyer.
I'm not a zoning lawyer. I
you don't
never
have to
was.
be.
I mean,
It doesn't
that's-
matter. I mean, it's just you have an appreciation for law that takes a while to get.
All right, I mean, I'll be willing to. I don't feel strongly about it, but I'm happy to give it up to someone else. So, no takers this time.
Not this
Okay.
time.
Don't have the depth of knowledge that you have yet.
All right,
Yeah, we need it.
all right, so we'll vote on it in a minute. Let's vote on, see who wants to be clerk. That's the other position.
I'll remain as clerk if anybody
Good.
doesn't care for it. Other than that, you're welcome to it.
Well, again, I think experience speaks for a lot, and I appreciate the fact that you're doing it, but it helps the rest of us, I think,
All right,
to learn.
thank you.
All right, then I'll make the motion then that I will continue to be the chair and Al will continue to be the clerk for the next year until, I think we're supposed to do it in June, reorganize every June. We missed it, but that's okay. Nobody really checks. All in favor? Oh, wait, we need a second on the
Need a
motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
Jamie, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, so that's that.
Congratulations.
Okay, there is one piece of new business. You probably
Not doing
saw,
a recount, are you?
you saw it in the paper.
yeah.
It was in the Times and the Chronicle. There's a Mamma Jamma project on the horizon down.
Is that the name of it?
No, but it's like 90 units. I mean,
Yes.
it's bigger than anything this town has ever seen. And
Indeed.
I follow this around the Cape, and there've been a lot of bigger projects proposed. Most of them have been, what are they? I can't think of the name, but where the majority of the units are commercially market rent units, and only a small portion are low income.
Like the Session Road one.
No, the Sisson Road one, I believe, isn't that gonna be all low income?
I don't think
No, I
so.
think so. I think it was like 25%. I think it's
Okay,
going
maybe I'm
forward.
getting it confused with the other article, because they want to do one totally low income.
Is that the one off of Queen Anne? and
Queen Anne.
124?
All right, I'm getting the two mixed up.
Right, that's the
This one
one.
here has got 96, with 24 being affordable housing, and the other one
That's
is
Session Road,
remaining.
right?
Right, that's Chloe
That's the
Lane.
one behind
Oh,
the
okay.
police station.
Behind the
right?
police
Yeah.
station.
Right, that's
Okay.
the one that you're talking about.
That's the Mamma Jamma one,
Yep,
yeah.
The Mamma Jam.
And I think Al and I
went to
have
that
done,
concert.
been on 140B, and I think I've done about 5 or 6 in total, but we've never had one in the town where it's partly commercial and partly residential. So, when it gets closer, I'll send some stuff around. We're gonna have to be very diligent about this one.
Absolutely.
And I've said it before, while there's almost, well, let me put it another way, there are very few circumstances under which a board can deny a 40B, but a board can put reasonable conditions on. And I think the last time we had 40 or 45 conditions that I proposed, and it was all low income, so they took all of them. You don't know with a commercial developer, the one in Hyannis would not accept any, and that one's been in litigation for years now. It would not accept a single condition, which I don't think is a winning position for them, but that's
For the Board of
up to
Appeals,
them.
conditions they didn't accept?
The board had a lot of conditions, and to me, they seemed reasonable, and
I
the
thought they
developer
had
would
to
not,
under the law.
not accept any of them, so.
Really?
Yeah, so it went to litigation, but that developer was, I think, not local and very hard-nosed, just was gonna ram it through, well. Years later, they're still fighting it in court. So that should be interesting, but it's still,
I don't know where I saw it, it was either, I don't know, it was the Harwich Facebook site, or whether it was online on the Times, and they have all the comments section. Dig it out, I'll forward the link if I see it, or Jamie, you're nodding, maybe you saw it too.
I did.
You can imagine what the comments were, right? It's gonna be a lot of comments from the abutters.
Sure, it's always controversial.
Traffic.
it
and-
always,
Well, the town meeting, when the selectmen heard it on Monday night, you're absolutely right. There was a tremendous amount of interest by the neighborhood, and it was going to be quite, in fact, Attorney Ford made a presentation for one of the property owners regarding some issues.
That was Monday night. I meant to get to that meeting, I didn't.
I think as long as we, as you said, as long as we keep open minds, cross the Ts, dot the Is.
Yep.
And be fair, what else
Right.
can you do?
The town needs the affordable housing.
my experience has been, the neighbors always love 40Bs, but not in their neighborhood.
Not in my backyard.
That's, I mean, it's unbelievable. But anyway,
We're under time constraint for the 40B as well.
well, yes and no. What generally happens is we'll have to have special meetings. I think on the average, I'd say we've had 5 to 6, 7 meetings on each one. And this one will probably require that or more. The one in Wellfleet, which was very interesting, I sent that around to you guys. They had a mamma jamma list of conditions, and that went on for a year, year and a half, mainly over wastewater issues. And,
Wellfleet or Truro?
well, maybe it was true. It was one or the other.
That
Now,
one's
I said
now they're
Wellfleet.
suing. In fact, it's that lawyer that represented,
The fellow from Chatham?
the guy, no, the one across the street from, in Howard Center.
Oh, the Royal?
Yeah, who's the lawyer that represented him? I
Oh,
think
he
it's
was from
Singer.
Boston. I can't remember his name.
Well, it wasn't Singer, was it?
No, not Singer.
No.
I don't remember, I know who you,
But he represented them, and they're complaining that the septic system, or the waste treatment system, which is not septic, it's a waste treatment plant.
Yep.
Package plant is untested or something like that. And there was a lot of work done by the board on,
Huge amount of
Moving
work.
it.
Although, if you looked at it, a lot of it, they deferred to experts both within the town, and the board can require the applicant to hire experts.
Mhm.
So, for example, traffic, I mean, we're not equipped to do a traffic study or to really wade through that, and we could require, if appropriate, a traffic study. Or wastewater.
Well, we'll need some sort of wastewater. That,
Oh, I'm
that
sure
area
they'll
does
have-
not have sewer yet, right?
No, and
So
that's
they'll
how
need
they do
some-
them, they'll build a treatment plant,
Right, they'll have to.
yeah,
And
Yeah.
it won't. And the other thing
Those are standard and things like that.
yeah, it is,
that you have to look at is height.
right,
I think
that's what my
I
question
think
was.
their proposal is for 3 stories, and we'd have to look at that in the drawings and consider it, and some towns have objected on that basis.
Parking under.
So, but anyway, those are some thoughts. We can't really discuss
Sure.
that project, but
Right.
I'm just throwing out general thoughts which we would look at for any project. So,
So what was the outcome of the selectmen's meeting Monday night? 'Cause
I don't know.
they did a presentation to
Yeah,
the
It was
selectmen.
informational though, wasn't it? I mean, they were taking a
it's
stand.
information, they have to get the town on board,
I realize
prove it,
that.
and
Yeah,
then they
be
have to go to
friendly.
the state, and there's a whole
Yeah,
state
I will.
process.
Right,
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
only when they get the state certification
Right.
that it will then come back to
It's all
us.
preliminary right now, right?
yeah.
It's all preliminary,
A
just
lot of the
discussion.
complaints were, they haven't even contacted us yet, and some
Right,
people said,
that's-
well, this is all preliminary, they don't have to yet.
Right.
I think.
So, but it's, just something to be aware of, and we'll see what happens, and if it comes, it'll be very interesting. I
Yeah, it
find
is.
these
It's
40Bs
very-
really
I do too.
fascinating.
You have a lawyer, you'd enjoy it.
Well, yeah, I do, I
No,
enjoy
mean,
it.
It's like me
uh,
with the research project, you know?
It, well, sort of.
I like
It's-
both, that's good.
Didn't we have last time the attorney come in from Boston and said on that at the end?
I don't remember now. We had Attorney Singer, but he wasn't the proponent. Remember,
Might have
he
been
was
Ford. Was it Ford?
remember they were flipping land? It was the one in West Harwich here.
Right. But I
Um,
thought we had an attorney that came in for us through the town.
Gosh, I don't remember the name. The Habitat always uses the same attorney, and I
Well,
can't remember his name. He's very good.
When I did the training online, whatever, and found from doing that,
I came
Well,
by the
state-
other day. They're up,
Yeah,
at least in part.
there are state funds available that we can hire an attorney to help us.
Yeah.
And not have it come out of not have it paid by the town, but it's on the CPC, or I think it is.
Hmm.
They provide funding for X number of dollars to hire a consultant to help us.
I don't think we need an attorney, because we have town council. What we might need, though, on this big one, the Mamma Jamma one, if it comes forward, are some technical experts. There's not a whole lot of legal ins and
Okay,
outs
yeah.
involved in it.
Well, again, it was they didn't say it was an attorney, it was a consultant. A consultant that comes in to make
Yeah.
sure that we,
It would go through planning first, I would imagine, is that true? No, it would go to us?
We
run the whole process.
We are the agency.
Okay,
Everybody has to send their comments to us. It goes through the other agencies, but they have to come to us. And
Alright.
we deal with the whole thing, not building code or wastewater. Those are handled,
Right,
by the
right,
normal
right.
departments. But traffic, safety, zoning, I don't know what else,
Oh,
but
so we could,
Fire, yeah.
I think what would be helpful is to get comments from the departments in the town.
oh, yeah, they will give us,
Right, good.
yeah, the
Yeah,
package
they've
goes
already made
around,
comments.
and
They
they
give
give
it
us
to the
their
select-
comments.
So we really coordinate all those activities.
Right.
They do it, we're just coordinating.
I see.
Right,
Package it all
and we
together
can
in a
request
final.
them to come in, we can ask them further
I
questions.
see, yeah, good, excellent. That's what
so-
that would be very helpful.
Okay, that's just general. Minutes from June 30th, 2021. I showed you there were just 2 minor little changes, and Alicia reissued them. Any further comments on the minutes? No, I'll move to approve the minutes then, as amended by Alicia. Second?
Second?
Second by Jamie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Alicia, do you have anything for us?
I have a question.
Yes.
I've just been on doing this for other boards, and every board likes things a certain way. So for certain boards, they want the minutes printed that you're gonna approve out for you with the agenda next to it. If you want me to do that for you, I'm happy to do it. You folks, I don't know if we've done it in the past and I've missed it.
No, I mean, I'm happy just the way we've been doing it.
Okay,
It's fine.
great.
What I would like to ask, though, is if we could get our packages like the Thursday before the meeting.
Yes.
They could be ready for us the Thursday, and that way, if we have plans or something, it gives us a little more leeway to work through this stuff.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thursday
That would
before
be
the
great.
meeting, yeah.
Now, these packages, they're gonna be where they were located this time, right outside the building inspector's office.
Yeah, so,
They asked if they
I
used-
guess I don't know the answer to that, because things get moved around often, but that is where they should stay.
Well, previously,
find
they had been in that little room as you walk. through
Yeah.
the
Yeah, I
door
think they were moved.
To the right.
Shane
Yeah.
was
We used
there.
to just go in
Yeah.
and pick them up, so they were in by.
And now they're kind of right outside the inspector's office, and that's where that's where they should stay. I can't promise
Okay.
that they will.
No problem, I'll ask anyway.
Yeah.
And I mentioned to you, and I guess if, I can send an email, but I will not be here at the next meeting in August. I have a
Okay.
commitment.
Okay, let's, Brian.
You know, the selectmen, I mean, I know you have one alternate, is the selectmen looking for a second alternate?
We can, but
I just didn't know, as people might.
do you have somebody in mind?
No, nobody.
Oh, okay.
Nobody, I didn't know if we need another alternate.
You know,
We
we've
used to
been,
have two, I just.
we've been up and down, and amazingly, when, let's see, before the pandemic, when did I have to go? What year was that, 2018 or something? Who can remember now? Before the selectmen to give the annual report in January. And I said, we had, for one brief moment, 10 members, 5 regulars, 5 alternates, but
Wow.
we don't now. We had them for like
Was it
22
10 or
days.
8? Because I-
Somebody
I-
left.
When I joined in, and I think it was like November of 19, my first meeting was the meeting Dean resigned. So then it was 5 full-time, and then Jamie, Kupoli, and me were the 3 alternates.
That's
So
right.
That's the most I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I will
me
say
too.
this, I think it's still up that you're looking for one more alternate in zoning on the website. So
That's
if you
on the
want-
website?
If you
Oh,
want me
okay.
to leave that up, I can. If not, I can have them take it down.
No, I just, it's like, the last meeting, like when you dropped out of it, we only had 4 people hearing it, just
Yeah,
just tossing that out.
All right.
I mean,
think
when I
it's-
mentioned the comment about legal, it'd be really nice to have someone with the stronger legal, I mean, we all can handle it. In my background, I've been able to deal with legal things, but you've got an understanding of it, you've got over decades of doing that, would be helpful, I think, especially, I mean, eventually, you're gonna wanna get off, not just as chair, but off. And
eventually,
it'd be
yeah.
nice to have someone
Yeah.
that's been on the board for a while who could provide that. I mean, we had Hilliard, he was very good, but he's left.
Yeah, and before him, John Burke, who was even better because he did zoning.
Yeah.
He was still working in it. I have been happy having the one alternate, because
fine.
here's the problem, if you have too many alternates, they don't get to vote too often. It's,
Good point.
I was just talking to
Activity.
Tim about this before. We like to let the alternates vote, but there are a lot of cases where the regular members need to handle it.
Yep.
So when I was on the board for the first 2 years, I thought strongly about leaving because you could only vote then if there was a member absent. I think we had 2 or 3 alternates, and really, you just wasted a lot of time seemingly, so.
Well said.
If it, I guess my thought was if it proves to be a problem, then I will push to get another alternate. But it's not easy to get anybody to come out for these boards. People don't wanna do it.
They don't.
Anybody, let alone a lawyer who's still working.
Yeah, true.
So, I understand, but I think
Yeah, no,
at the moment,
just
I'm
throwing it out.
happy with the one alternate.
That rotation of the alternates on voting was a great idea, and it certainly.
Well, I don't take credit. My predecessor, Gary Carrera, decided on that, him and John Burke.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, it's a great idea, I think.
I would agree.
Okay, if no one has anything further, I will move to adjourn the
Second.
meeting. Second by Chris Murphy, all in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned at 8:36 PM. Thanks, Alicia.